Alright, so in this video, things are gonna get a little sketchy. Let's check it out. What's going on, YouTube? FXDLS Brooklyn is back in the building. Here we are in a very dry and spaghetti western-like landscape as we coast north into Wyoming, about 100 miles outside of Yellowstone. And yeah, it makes sense about halfway through the trip for something on this bike to start to go wrong or start to break. So basically the situation is we're pulled over on the first rest stop today, and when we're stopped, I like to just do a little, go around in the bike, just looking at things, trying to catch whatever I can catch. And I just noticed that the chain was lying flat on my passenger peg bracket, where I wasn't really surprised because I was looking at pictures in previous days of the trip, and I was like, yeah, the chain looks a little loose, seems to be hanging a little low. But then I looked at that, and then I looked at the bracket, and it was clear that it was starting to shear into the bracket itself. So the chain is definitely really, really loose. So we were like, alright, we're thinking about the options. We're like literally in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming right now. It's not like there's a Harley dealership right around the way. And what I will say is we did stop by a particular Harley dealership in Colorado to see if, like, because I had suspected that the chain was very loose, just to see if a tech could come out, hit it with the wrench, just jack it up really quick. And basically they kind of just like blew us off, and they were just like, yeah, no, it'll be fine or whatever. And lo and behold, it's getting significantly looser at the point where it's shearing the peg. So, this video is not about Harley-Davidson dealerships, but what I will say is that all Harley-Davidson dealerships are not created equal. Some of them really will not give you the time of day and are really quite rude, but what are you going to do? I'm not going to let it ruin my day as long as my chain is still attached to the bike. So, yeah, we are kind of talking, like, we're on the side of the road. There's literally no dealerships for maybe the next, 150 miles. So, kind of the plan right now is the road captain was like, well, we could just go buy the wrench at an auto store and jack it up and do it ourselves. But I've actually never done that before, and the variable here is, when I sit on the bike, obviously it puts more tension on the chain, so it looks a little bit better in that situation. But if we do it ourselves, then I don't know, it's like, should I be doing it and unloading the bike completely, or should I be adjusting it with the bike fully loaded, which is how I'm doing most of my miles? Like, what's the situation? So it seems like, to just have the greatest peace of mind right now is to have, a dealership or someone who knows what they're doing in terms of adjusting this thing, take a look at it, because it's definitely not me. So when I sat on the bike, I had the boys take a look at it, and they were basically saying that it was like it wasn't sitting with my weight on there, it wasn't sitting on the bracket itself, but it seemed to be fluctuating. Like, every time we checked it, like, sometimes you leave it and it would be like, a couple centimeters off. Sometimes you leave it, it'd be sitting flat. So basically the game plan right now is basically just gonna ride it out, put in this last 100 miles. I'm saying it's a sketchy 100 miles because, the bike's not 100%, I'm dragging a chain on a passenger bracket periodically. It's not the most relaxing feeling. So the road captain knows that. He's a very good road captain, so he knows that I'm kind of running some sketchy miles right now, so we're not doing the speeds we've been doing before that. He kind of is taking the speed down a little bit just in case something does go wrong here. We're not sitting at 90, 100 miles per hour or whatever we're doing. But yeah, it's kind of part of the road trip. It's normal. Like, you're gonna have things like this happen, and sometimes they're gonna happen in the middle of nowhere, and you gotta make the best call you can. And the call that we made is we're just gonna ride it out, probably get into Jackson and hopefully, at the very least, if we have to, just find an auto parts store, jack it up ourselves, and adjust it ourselves. I'm also gonna, shoot a couple pictures of it with me on the bike, me off the bike, to some trusted mechanics back home, just to get their general assessment too. I do regret not installing my bunking chain catcher, which is actually made for that purpose, for when it does start to sit low, to have it not shear the bracket. Really wish I put that on now, but lesson learned, right? So yeah, it's gonna be a sketchy 100 miles. It's the name of the game. That's how it is. If things don't break on the trip, if things don't go wrong on the trip, then you probably didn't do it right. But I will pick it back up in a video after this, and I'll give you guys an update on where this went and where we're at. Like I always say, chain and maintain. Today, emphasis on maintain, and hopefully we could make that happen as we pull into Jackson. But yeah, things are getting a little sketchy, but the landscape is just beautiful. I hope you guys are enjoying that. As always, stay safe, stay low, look over your bike, catch things before they go disastrously wrong. Listen to Bad Brains, practice a positive mental attitude. On that, FXDLS Brooklyn is out.